Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Von Biggs, and let's queer up health. Viagra is 27 years old, and here is how it caused a sexual health revolution. It's been 27 years since a little blue pill quietly transformed how Americans talk about aging, sex, and health. In spring 1998, the FDA approved Viagra, making it the first oral medication to treat what we call erectile dysfunction, or ED. Before Viagra, ED was hardly discussed publicly, often buried in shame or brushed off as a joke. Alicia Walker, a sociology professor at Missouri State University, said, quote, "If I was to talk about it all, it was behind closed doors or joked about as part of an inevitable decline of aging. Viagra opened the door for these conversations," end quote. Originally developed to treat high blood pressure, sildenafil, Viagra's active ingredient, unexpectedly showed a different effect: erections within an hour. Pfizer recognized the opportunity, and by the end of 1998, Americans had spent nearly $788 million on almost 100 million pills. Viagra shifted the language and stigma, with former U.S. Senator Bob Dole leading its first ad campaign. The condition was reframed from impotence to medical term erectile dysfunction. That framing, Walker says, changed the tone of the entire conversation. Experts say Viagra's impact was broader than sex. It encouraged men to seek help. For LGBTQ viewers, Viagra's legacy also underscores how mainstream medicine can evolve to better address intimacy, health, and dignity. You know, I thought I saw this story and I thought it was interesting because when I think about as much work as I do with HIV, and when you talk about stigma, and I know my parents' generation, you never heard the conversation about sex. They didn't talk about sex at all. Mm-hmm. Now
or anything being wrong with
right,
male.
Right. Exactly. You know. Exactly. So it's now seeing that, and I have hope that stigma has changed in that case, and now it's going to change for everything else with medication. Yeah.
Well, I mean, a great story, Vaughn. Thank you so much for bringing it to our attention. I think that they just basically rebranded it, right? Because think about it, Bob Dole was like, like really, like you don't want to think about Bob Dole and sex in the same sentence. No. You know what I mean? So they like turned that around and were like, all right, erectile deficient. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Let's change that. Right. You know what I mean? Like let's do that instead of, let's make it sound more medical than impotent. You know, because everybody was making fun of people being impotent during that time. So so it makes sense. You know, it made things more mainstream to use this little blue pill. Yes. You know, that being said. That being said, from someone who doesn't have the right over her own body to decide if I have a baby or not, I don't think that insurance should cover it. Okay, that's just my own personal opinion, right? If I get pregnant, it's because God wants it. If your dick don't work, then maybe it's because God wants it too.
Yeah, that double standard.
That's not, you know.
I'm just saying.
I agree with you on that.
It's a double standard.
It's very, very big double standard. I love how the boys be quiet for that one. That is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.